the Indiana area, actually, so just kind of a short drive for him. He won a regionals last year, was really the first player to have success with Trevenant, and has performed very well this year as well, coming off a top 8 at the Madison Regional Championships. And he is playing a very similar deck to what he played there, although with a few changes, which is a deck that we just talked about, the Decidueye GX Vileplume deck.
Yep, and over on our right, we have Daniel AltaVilla, recent winner of the Mexico Regional Championship, and he also had a top 4 at the same event that Aaron was able to score top 8, so one step above him.
Yeah, Danny has really had a great season, especially this last half, top 4ing Madison, and then the very next week, winning outright Mexico City has really catapulted him. Like we said, both these players have been playing for a while and they've had accomplishments, but I feel like this year has really been a great year for the both of them.
Yep, and we see Daniel here on our screen, and of course, he is going to be sticking to a tried and true Zoroark deck. I can't see him playing anything else.
Yeah, I mean, when you top 4 and then win a regionals with the deck, you're going to go ahead and bring it to the next tournament. So that's the Zoroark deck that we just covered, kind of. I don't know if there's any changes from his Mexico City list. It looks like
one.
Yeah, the one that stands out there. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, he actually removed the Tapu Koko promo, which is surprising. It's one of those really good inclusions in any deck. It's nice to have a free retreater. It's nice to have some spread damage if you want to soften up some targets for your Zoroark in the future. And he actually it looks like he removed it for a Giratina.
Yeah, tell us about the Giratina. Why did he put that? What did he choose to put that in his deck this weekend?
I think he wants to beat Greninja.
Yeah, the promo that has a big game versus break Pokemon, which we don't see too many of anymore. However, Greninja is always a threat, so it looks like Danny has kind of prioritized that. I think
mirror match? You can stop the Zoroark.
Yeah, Zoroark break as well.
Doing stuff. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what he's got some. I'm pretty sure it's going to be just all right. Let's just stop Greninja from doing anything crazy against me and go in with the Drampa.
So as these players are getting set up, how do you feel about this matchup, Kyle? I know that you have played the Decidueye deck a little bit. How do you predict this matchup going?
Yeah, this is one of those matchups that I believe is favored for Decidueye. I found this matchup to be pretty strong. You can choose how many Pokemon that you want to have on your bench, so you don't have to commit too much into a Myjack, and you also don't have many attacks that are that great for a Zoroark break to copy, and you're going to get the most use out of your Feather Arrows and setting up big knockouts for yourself.
So we do see Daniel take a mulligan there. So what would you say? You think it's like a 55-45 matchup for Aaron?
Yeah, I think 55 is a fair number, especially with both players. They're going to be playing it to the best of this matchup's ability. So we'll see great play out of each player. I'm sure Aaron has a strategy coming into this that will maybe even bring it to a 60-40.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look. I believe Aaron has put out his prize cards. Danny has taken a mulligan. Looks like Daniel is going to start with that Oricorio or Shaman. Did not quite see what Aaron started with. It looks like Danny's still deciding what to place down. So what do you think is the key to this matchup on Aaron's side? I know we talked a little bit during the break about the Espeon EX and its de-evolve ability.
Yeah.
Or attack, rather.
It's that's a great way to knock out a bunch of Zorua, and you can pretty much steal a game there because you only needed to have 60 damage down. And Tapu Koko is fantastic in this matchup too. If you don't play too many Pokemon down, so that Mindjack is a one-hit knockout on Tapu Koko, 2 spreads can basically win the game there.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and take a look at Aaron's prize cards, as he has placed them down now.
Ooh, oh, goodness.
2 double colorless prized.
Yeah, he needs those, so that's really, really unfortunate.
Yeah, he's only running 8 energy total with 4 double colorless and 4 grass, so having 2 of the most powerful energy cut off is not going to be easy for him.
Yeah, he kicked back in his chair like he knew that he prized bad cards there.
And we see Danny playing his prize cards down. Better so far. All right, nothing too bad. 2 supporters in a Zoroark, but it's got to be expected.
Can't complain about that.
And it looks like Aaron will be going first.
Yep, I believe so. And he's got the mulligans too, which is going to be very good for him. Interesting Daniel had a choice between Oricorio and Shaman in his starting, and he was really debating starting the Shaman. It looks like he's choosing to go Oricorio. But yeah, we'll see. We are underway for the very first game of this International Championship.
And Aaron has started with the Pokemon you were talking about. Do you think it's going to be a very big key to this matchup, and that is that Espeon EX? Not doing too much now, but definitely something that Aaron is glad isn't prized and he can get on the board early.
Yeah, he doesn't want to start it because you don't really want to de-evolve anything until you're going to be getting a knockout from it. But it's good to know it's not prized. You'll have access to it later, and it looks like Aaron he level balled quickly and got himself his first Rowlet.
Yeah, so Aaron going to go ahead and level ball for that Rowlet, Ultra Ball, the Dartrix, I believe, and a Decidueye GX away. So what does Aaron want to see on this first turn? What is he looking to do?
Well, the number one card that he's going to be looking for is Forest of Giant Plants. Of course, any supporter to keep this going is going to be great. He also found pretty good cards to throw away with his Ultra Ball. You think, oh, I don't want to lose my Dartrix and my Decidueye, but you have cards like Revitalizer, which can bring them right back into your hand. If you have a Forest of Giant Plants, you have a Decidueye on the opening turn. So Aaron, with his first decision, big decision of the game, is do I Sycamore and lose 2 more supporters, or do I just end immediately?
Yeah, he just had the full our supporter slide just in his hand there.
Yeah.
Sycamore, Lysander, and N. Does choose to play the N there. Do you think that's just purely resource preservation there?
Absolutely. It doesn't do him anything to lose the N and the Lysander. He doesn't have access to those cards unless he hollow hunts, and he's looking to have just a big turn, but also conserve resources so he can draw into those later.
All right, and it looks like this turn is not even close to being over. We see a Trainer's Mail and a Forest of Giant Plants, although the Trainer's Mail looks like it's going to miss. Did I see that correctly?
He has he can get an N, I think, but the last 2 cards he saw were Trainer's Mail, and you can't grab Trainer's Mail with Trainer's Mail, so he didn't have many options there for himself.
Yeah, a little bit of a miss there. Ultra Ball going to go ahead and discard an N and a Tapu Koko promo.
Oh, this is going to be a huge turn. He must have looked and seen that his Shaman is going to be in the deck, which means that he can grab that Shaman now. We also saw, I believe, 2 more Pokemon that he can bench and the Forest of Giant Plants.
Yep.
That's going to be really big for him, getting 6 fresh cards.
Yeah, so like you said, Shaman off of the Ultra Ball. He does have an Oddish and a Forest in his hand. There's the Forest of Giant Plants.
Oh,
there's the
man.
Rowlet. And there's the Shaman set up for 6 new cards.
Yep. Now, of course, it plays a little into Mind Jack, but who cares? Look how great this first turn is.
And the Trainer's Mail finds a level ball. Aaron playing pretty quickly, knowing exactly what he wants to do here. It looks like he will be able to get Decidueyes out. At least one if he wants, now that that level ball has found that Dartrix.
Yeah, he definitely has a lot of options for himself. One thing that is going to be interesting, I think he only has 1 energy in his hand there. So, of course, retreating and moving around isn't going to be happening. But Feather Arrows is going to start adding up for sure.
Yeah, so there is the evolution to the Decidueye because of the Forest of Giant Plants. Feather Arrow for 20 on the active Oricorio, and Aaron has to pass the turn back to Danny.
Yeah, and Danny just says, wait, what did you just do this turn? I got to see all this. All right, he did a pretty good opening turn, even able to put some damage down, too.
There's a Tapu Lele GX, one of the main supporting Pokemon we've been talking about this morning here. Wonder Tag ability, going to go ahead and let Danny search his deck for any one supporter card. It looks like he'll be finding a Bridget, perhaps?
Yeah, Bridget is a great card for Tapu Lele to search out when you already have a draw supporter in hand. You want to make sure that you can do some other things, but of course getting down those Aruas definitely before all of your Decidueyes from your opponent are down, because you don't want to just get triple Feather Arrowed and knocked out before you can even have an opportunity to evolve.
Yeah, so he's going to take some time. Just make sure he wants to grab that Bridget after all. Really important in the you'll see a lot of this in a tournament of this level with players of this level, where they kind of look through their deck, make sure they see what's prized, look in their hand, kind of make sure they're always making the right decision while trying to make timely decisions as well. He does find the Bridget, 2 Zorua, and a Drampa, so that's those are the main attackers in his deck right there. That's pretty much exactly what he wants to be doing here in the early game.
Yeah, we saw how important that early search was, especially with Aaron, because he had to take a big risk when he Ultra Balled. For instance, if both of the Shamans were prized, that would have been horrible for him. He wouldn't have had anything else to do. So always that opening surge is going to be pretty key, and Daniel taking full advantage of it as well.
It looks like Daniel does have an energy in his hand. He's already used a supporter for the turn. Most of his Pokemon are going to be evolution-based, so he's not really doing much else.
Is he thinking of using Supernatural Dance already? Just there's 2 Pokemon in the discard?
Yeah, I think there's a Dartrix and a Decidueye. Oh, 3. There's a Tapu Koko as well.
Okay, yeah, so there you go. He's going to put some pressure on for himself.
Yep, here we go. 1 to the Espeon EX, and 2 to that Decidueye GX on the bench. We usually see Supernatural Dances maybe a little later in the game, or at least for a little bit more damage, but Danny's just going all in as we see it. Evolution to a Gloom and then an N from Aaron.
Yeah, now one thing that Aaron's going to want to do before he locks in that Vileplume is find a Floatstone, because he is very susceptible to just being Lysandered up, and then his Vileplume is stuck there. He has no way to move around, and of course we saw there's no way for him to retreat. He already has 2 double colorless in his prize cards. So Aaron definitely going to be looking for Floatstone, Vileplume, and a supporter for the following turn.
Yeah, Lysander on the Vileplume is a strategy we've seen employed at the last U.S. National Championship at last year by Paul Johnston, who is actually backstage probably listening to us talk right now. I'm sure he's glad to get that shout out.
Hey, Paul.
As we see a Revitalizer from Aaron, gets him another Decidueye set up.
Yeah, this is a big decision for Aaron right now. He has the Vileplume in hand, but he doesn't know if he wants to do it before Floatstone. His hand really doesn't have that much in it, so he might just feel like locking out items right now could he'd be in a standstill anyways because he doesn't have draw. So he might just say, all right, let's just do this.
All right, he pays to retreat, promote that Decidueye GX, and there is the Vileplume. So without the Floatstone, like you said, the Vileplume is kind of unprotected, but Aaron is just saying, well, I'm just going to do it. I don't really have much going on anyway. I'm going to take the risk.
Oh, all right, he needs to Feather Arrow first.
Yeah, he has 2 Feather Arrows he can use. Don't think he's going to forget about those.
I'm hoping not.
Taking his time.
Yeah, he definitely knows that Hollow Hunt is how he's going to end the turn, but where do you want to put this damage? Do you want to start softening up Zoruas, or do you want to just make sure all the damage is on one Pokemon so that Drampa is limited in its Berserk attack?
And there is that GX attack. Hollow Hunt GX, letting Aaron search his discard pile for any 3 cards. Our first GX attack of the tournament.
Yep. So he flips that counter over, and he grabbed himself an energy and 2 supporter cards, so that he is going to have some options coming up.
Double colorless energy is going to be attached to that Zoroark, it looks like, for Danny. There's that stand-in ability, letting Zoroark just move to the active position, very similar to Keldeo EX in the expanded format.
Yeah. And one thing that Keldeo does not have is Mind Jack. Mind Jack is really good. Secret Sword was pretty good, though, too.
So yeah, this is one of the downsides of Aaron filling his bench in the early turns, is that he has kind of turned on Mind Jack for Danny. The Decidueye is a big Pokemon. It can take a few hits, but that's definitely not the usual strategy versus the Zoroark deck.
Yeah, and we saw Daniel had options like Hex Maniac in his hand, which usually stopping your opponent from doing stuff can be pretty good, but you would also turn off that Vileplume ability, which means that Aaron would have option to item cards. So Daniel just says, I'll save this for later. You probably have some items that you want to use in your hand, and I don't want to give you access to those.
And there's the N from Aaron that we saw him get back with that Hollow Hunt GX attack last turn, refreshing both players' hands to 6, even though the players have kind of played a few turns. They've done a lot, but it hasn't been that many turns, and no prizes have been taken yet.
Yeah, and Aaron might be thinking himself a bit unlucky because he hasn't found a double colorless yet, but he has 2 priced, so that's going to be a lot of his damage potential is going to be through the use of Feather Arrows.
Yeah, and that's something you'll see with a lot of these players too, is that Aaron knows that those are prized. Like he's kind of sitting there going, oh man, this is unfortunate, but now that I have that information, I kind of gotta work with it as I can, and that's going to be one of the things that separates good players from great players, is memorizing your prizes and kind of changing your strategy based on that.
Yeah, knowing that he has 2 prized, he might even just take the 1 and 3, where he can double Feather Arrow to the Oricorio, and then try to find that double colorless, but it looks like he's going to take the safer route of running away. He can just retreat here and make sure that his feather arrows get a lot of use.
Yeah, so double feather arrow on the Zoroark there, putting 40 damage on it. And as you predicted, it looks like Aaron is going to retreat.
Yeah, but who takes the shot? It looks like that damage that Daniel placed on the Espeon is going to come in perfect handy there. Mind Jack would be a great knockout. But yeah, Aaron's just saying, all right, you can have my Vileplume. I can get it back probably. I have item cards that can easily search out these spots, and I'm not worried about you using a counter gem. You only play 2.
Right, we're going to start Daniel's turn. He attaches a Darkness Energy to that Drampa GX on the bench. And looks like he's considering playing a Sycamore. I think he has a few resources in his hand.
Interesting. He throws away a Zorua. Wants to keep that bench space open.
You think he's trying to find another Drampa there, or what do you think he's leaving that bench space open, not playing the Zorua?
It's interesting. He might want to just save spots for where he can play the Magma Base and then play another Pokemon, just in case Aaron is able to clear off both Pokemon that have damage on them, to make sure Berserk is going to be a great knockout in the future.
And there's the first prize of the game as Mind Jack takes down the Vileplume, and Daniel AltaVilla goes down to 5 prizes remaining. Espeon EX gets promoted on Aaron's side, and there's a third Decidueye GX hitting the board.
Oh, that is great. Aaron, definitely looking forward to seeing that. That means that he has 6 damage that he can now put down. All of that is going to go straight to the Zoroark. Aaron's able to take a prize before he even attacks, and he did grab that double colorless energy.
Yeah, so he has access to the double colorless. Great, luckily it was prized in the right position for Aaron there. Floatstone on the Espeon. Looks like Trainer's Mail.
Yeah, he's got Trainer's Mail for a level ball. He does have the Gloom that he can grab, and then he can probably get that Vileplume back down if he wanted to.
Yeah, he does have a Revitalizer in his hand, so if he wants to reset the Vileplume lock, he can. He's going to use all the items that he can in his hand first, of course.
Yep.
And there's the Revitalizer. Revitalizer, one of the cards that's really helping Vileplume get over the top in combination with Force of Giant Plants, just letting you evolve whenever you want, getting back any Pokemon you want. Just a perfect combination of cards.
Yep, so we see immediately going to grab that Vileplume, and it looks like the other card he's going to take is Oddish.
He already had the Gloom in his hand from the level ball. And there's the Gloom, double colorless on the Shaman. There's the Vileplume. We're going to see Retreat, and we're going to see a Sky Return, it looks like. Yeah, one of Aaron's favorite attacks.
Yeah, he gets to use Sky Return there, and that also means that one Pokemon is off of his field, which means that Mind Jack is doing a little less. But it's not going to stop this Drampa from going berserk on that Decidueye.
Yeah, there's a Lysander and a Berserk knockout. Daniel AltaVilla now going down to 3 prizes, taking a big GX knockout. And that's the power of Drampa GX.
Yep. Now, one issue that Daniel can run into this turn is that Drampa really doesn't do too much unless Berserk is in full effect, meaning that you had already removed all the damage counters off. Then he needs some damage counters on the bench. So if he can knock out this Oricorio, which of course he has access to with the use of Sky Return again, he can make sure that Daniel needs to find Magma Base and another Pokemon.
Well, you had to read, Kyle. Just double Feather Arrow on the bench, Drampa, and then take a knockout on the Oricorio. Clear Danny's board of damage and go down to 4 prizes. That last double colorless is not going to see play out of Aaron for a while, but he has gone to 4 prizes versus Daniel's 3.
Yeah, Aaron's finding good use of his cards, although he hasn't had a great attacker yet. He's doing good things, and Daniel has to just say, all right, I don't have Magma Base, I'm gonna Mind Jack for a little bit. He doesn't. It's not pretty.
Yeah, it's not exactly where he wants to be, but it is the versatility of this deck is that you kind of have some non-GX attackers, you have a GX one, you can kind of orchestrate your plays how you want. Not perfect for Danny, though, like you said, eliminating that bench damage was huge for Aaron.
Yeah. Now, Aaron's in a spot where he's not going to want to put damage down on anything besides Drampa unless it's going to be a knockout. So we might see him just not even attack the Zoroark and put all the damage counters on the Drampa and just use this turn as a pass turn. Set up that double colorless on the Decidueye, wait for grass energy, and then start to clean up the game from there.
Yeah, we do see that double colorless on the Decidueye GX on the bench, getting ready for maybe a Razor Leaf in the future turns. Aaron considering what he wants to do here, counting out his deck. He has gone through a lot of his deck, a lot of his resources, just making sure what he has left, making sure he's not going to deck out by playing the Sycamore here.
Yeah, it's good for him to check that because you don't want to have any issues there. He's also really looking for another N because he can't feel safe with Daniel's hand being at 10 cards. It's so unlikely that he's not going to have a way to find the Magma Base this turn. But it looks like Aaron feels safe enough putting some damage on the Zoroark here.
He just puts one Feather Arrow on the active Zoroark, the other one on the bench Drampa, and then chooses not to attack and passes the turn back to Danny.
Yeah, he knows that the Espeon can already get knocked out regardless of if Berserk is in its full effect or just doing that 80 damage. So he's just saying, all right, I'll just place the damage here. Drampa's already going to be in range of being knocked out by the Decidueye. And Daniel's going to use Sycamore and try to find some cards. Definitely better than his other hand, which, as big as it was, it really didn't have much in it. And
Daniel did find that Team Magma's secret base, so he's already has the damage on the bench, so it's not going to be as big of a deal, but it does get rid of that forest of giant plants if he chooses to play it, which could come into effect, not letting Aaron set up as well in the future turns.
Yeah, I believe Aaron has one line left of the Decidueye. One, of course, was already knocked out, but I don't know how much of the rest of that fourth line is either prized or in his discard pile. So that can lock out the potential of one more Decidueye coming out, and all the Feather Arrows really start to matter this late in the game.
And there's a Wonder Tag, getting a Lysander. So not going to be able to play it this turn as he has played as one supporter for the turn, but just using that Tapu Lele to get set up for the future turns.
Yep, and it's nice to have that damage on the Lele just in case he needs to go Berserk. So using it this turn isn't going to affect him too much.
There's a knockout. Danny AltaVilla going down to just one prize left versus Aaron Tarbel's 4. Can Aaron come back, or is it going to be too late?
Yeah, this is where Aaron really needs to find that N. He was searching for it last turn to get himself in this position because he knew that Daniel was likely going to have to take a big aggressive approach there, knocking out the Espeon, but not really answering anything that Aaron has going on. And Aaron does have that N. He's going to get himself 4 cards. He has an attack ready because he has the grass energy. So it looks like Aaron is going to be able to put himself in a pretty good spot if Daniel doesn't draw in into anything.
And so Daniel will be really looking for a Lysander this turn. He only has one. He's only getting 1 card off the end, 1 card off the draw. So this is hopefully where Aaron can kind of come back and put himself in a better position, have way more cards, hopefully have a little bit of a better board position. But it's going to be tough because Daniel only needs 1 more prize, and it's all going to depend on what the next few draws are for Danny.
Danny sees a field blower. That's not going to do very much for him, so he's going to need to find it on this next coming draw.
And there's a knockout. 2 Feather Arrows on the bench. Tapu Lele, Dark Energy, and a Field Blower. Like you said, not really doing a whole lot in this position. 3 prizes left for Aaron, 1 for Daniel. Can he come back?
Well, he's not knocked out. He can use Righteous Edge and remove that double colorless energy. But he does not know that on the other side, Aaron has a couple double colorless ready to go.
Of the 5 cards, Aaron has in hand 2 are double colorless.
He has to feel good about that. Daniel's just going to say, all right, how many double colorless are in your discard pile? Because this looks like my only option. Oh, none. Okay, that's great.
Weird.
Well, you got 4 cards left in your deck.
No, he has decided to use Big Wheel GX to draw 10 fresh cards, resetting his hand and kind of saying, all right, well, you put me down to 2, but I'm getting 10 now, so let's see if you can do it again.
Yep. The energy attachment to the Vileplume. I guess he just doesn't want to get locked up in the active spot there, too. So Aaron's thinking about everything here.
And there's a knockout. Looks like the judge is pointing something out. Just getting the dice cleared. So there's a knockout. Aaron going down to 1 prize. Danny going down to 1 prize. Danny has a hand of 10 cards, but nothing on the board. Aaron has not an ideal setup, but a pretty good one considering the position he was in earlier with 2 Decidueyes, 1 fully loaded up, and the next prize will win this game.
Yeah, now Daniel has a lot of cards that he can do some stuff, but I don't know what's going to really win this game for him. It looks like a combination of a Lysander on the Vileplume with a double colorless on the Tapu Lele attacking, and then maybe rescue stretcher for an Oricorio. I mean, it has to be something pretty crazy here.
Yeah, he does have 11 cards to work with now as that Tapu Lele gets promoted. Danny taking some time to think. How do I get out of this? I kind of was ahead the entire game. Was ahead on prizes for a lot of the game, and then eventually my board state kind of crumbled. How do I come back here?
Yep. Daniel's really just going to look over all of his options. Sees the rescue stretcher. I don't know what his best option in there is because we don't have a count on how many Pokemon are in Aaron's discard. I would assume that it's a pretty good amount, though. We've already seen a Decidueye fall and a bunch of other Pokemon as well. He's been throwing some away with the Sycamore. Hex Maniac's going to be a great card. It's going to prevent Aaron from using any of these Feather Arrows. So that means that Aaron has to have Lysander if he wants to end this game.
And also going to importantly turn off the Vileplume ability, Irritating Pollen, letting Daniel play this rescue stretcher here. Looks like Oricorio is the target. He's going to take a look at Aaron's discard pile first. I think that was 12? There's quite a few Pokemon in there.
Yeah, 11 or 12, just from my quick glance there. But yeah, of course, that's the big key is that Hex Maniac is now going to give him access to all these cards. Might as well get use of everything now. Special charge, get himself some energies that he can potentially draw into in the future here. We'll see what other items he has as well.
Yeah, special charge, getting 2 double colorless, shuffling them back into his deck. Probably not going to be able to take advantage of all of them, but might as well rid yourself of some item cards. Oricorio hits the bench, takes 2 damage counters from that Team Magma Seeker base. And here comes an Ultra Ball. Just going through all the items he can. Looks like he's going to find a Shaman, but of course will not be able to use it to great effect this turn.
Right. He needs to draw into energy to just get going. The fact that he played down his own Oricorio there, along with the damage that's on the Tapu Lele, means that this game ends with a Lysander next turn, or through use of Feather Arrows in the coming turns. Of course, not this next turn with the Hex Maniac down, but we can see a lot of different routes here.
Here comes the Versus Seeker, getting back the Hex Maniac, maybe for next turn. And he passes back. There's a Lysander, and
That'll
Daniel's going to go ahead and scoop him up as Aaron Tarbel takes game 1.
Yep, when that prize cam is empty, that means you won the game.
Yeah. So, as you predicted, Aaron takes game 1. Matchup was the game was kind of interesting. Danny got ahead in the early turns, even though Aaron did get the Vileplume up. And he was able to kind of keep the advantage on the prizes, but not really on the board. We saw as soon as Aaron got the chance, he just kind of knocked out the Zoroark, knocked out the Drampa, and even though Danny was at 1 prize for a couple of turns, Aaron was able to pull it off in the late game.
Yeah, he has a lot of high hit point Pokemon, so that makes it pretty difficult for Daniel to close out the game. And we saw Aaron had to discard that the Tapu Koko very early in the game, which is a card that I really expected him to get a lot of use out of in this matchup. That early damage spread can be huge for knocking out the Zoroarks, being that you only have 100 hit points, or you can even devolve them with the Espeon. So maybe he gets a little use out of it. Last time had to throw it away with the Ultra Ball, but it was a pretty great turn he had.
So while these players shuffle up, you predicted Aaron would win. We saw Aaron win. What has to go differently for Daniel this time to let him win the game and have a chance at winning this match?
Well, he'd like to start with Drampa, of course. You want to get that normal setup of just going berserk as early as possible. If you can avoid seeing Forest of Giant Plants, that means that Aaron is going to be just a really slow pyramid deck, just trying to evolve everything one step at a time, and that's not good enough to beat Zoroark. So if Daniel's able to get going, maybe a big wheel to get into all those cards, and then Aaron's stuck searching for that N, there's a lot of different things that can just put Daniel over the top. But definitely, if he doesn't see Forest of Giant Plants, this matchup is completely different.
Yeah, a lot of the Vileplume decks come down to kind of, can you get an early turn 1, maybe even turn 2 Vileplume? Because if you can, that changes so much for the whole entire game. It's just your opponent's off of items, and that's going to slow them down so much. So really depends on how the first couple turns go for Aaron. Let's see, as players finish shuffling up here, if Daniel can put together something, or if Aaron's just going to go ahead and take another game and become 1-0 at the North American International Championships.
Yeah, we saw that opening game. It did take about half the time, so it looks like players will have a full game 2, but if we do get to game 3, that's when it gets a little dangerous.
Yeah, so Danny will be going first in this match as the loser of game 1. Both players no mulligans this time, setting up their actives. Looks like Aaron's going to go ahead and set out his prize cards, and we can take a look at those.
Double Lysander.
Yeah, both of his Lysanders prized. No DZEs, luckily, but those 2 Lysanders aren't going to be great. Maybe we can take a look at Danny's real quick. Ooh, 2 Drampa and a double colorless.
Well, he only plays 2 Drampas, so that Drampa start that I was talking about, that's impossible.
Yeah, that's not great prizes for either player, as Danny starts us off here. Zoroark start versus Rowlet, Ultra Ball. So what's Danny going to be looking for here to kind of set up his board in the early game?
Well, if he has an energy, then he can just go Tapu Lele into Bridget and get moving. But it looks like he's going to have to go with a different route here. And he finds Zorua, has Tapu Lele already in his hand, so he can just grab whatever he needs there. Probably just going to find Sycamore. Yeah, it looks like he's just going to take Sycamore there. And I don't know if he saw his prizes, look through his deck enough to see that both Drampa were prized. That might make him just actually throw away the Magma Base instead, but we'll see.
And there we go. Sycamore off of the for the first turn for Daniel there.
Yeah, this is actually pretty good for Daniel. He found a lot of item cards that he may never get use of. So he actually played down 3 of them and is able to get himself in a pretty good position.
Yeah, so first turn here. 2 Zoroarks up. And now Aaron's turn. Forest of Giant Plants, that main card, the kind of signature card of the deck, allows him to evolve into Dartrix immediately. We see an Ultra Ball discarding an Espeon and a double colorless. And let's see what he's going to put together here. He's checking how many Decidueye he has left, checking his whole line, really, of Decidueye and Rowlet.
Yep, just want to make sure that you got everything that you need there. That early forest is going to be huge for Aaron. It just really opens up a world of potential for this opening turn. So I definitely expect Aaron to go off here, especially when he Ultra Balls and doesn't even need to grab cards like Tapu Lele.
So there's another Shaman 4-6. Rowlet hits the board, double colorless. Shaman drawing a fresh hand of 6 cards, and it looks like Aaron still has a lot of this turn left to play.
Yep. Doesn't find anything off the trainer's mail that's going to help him out. And in a kind of awkward spot with his hand there, he has another double colorless in his hand, so he doesn't want to lose that with a Sycamore. Then he's already seen 3 double colorless, and he's going to have to Hollow Hunt very early again. So we'll see what Aaron goes with here. Yeah, it looks like, he has the end there, so that's going to help him a lot. He can get himself a fresh 6, possibly disrupt Daniel in the same breath there, and he's going to try to find a little bit more so that he can get some more the great use of that Forest Giant Plants.
Yeah, we do see the Decidueye GX hit the board, and here resetting both players back to 6 cards rather. And this is an interesting matchup, not only in decks but in players, right? You enter this huge tournament over 1,000 players, and you get paired against one of the best competitors in North America immediately. This is the match that I could easily be convinced was the finals of this tournament.
Right. Like if we had a top 20, 25 list of players to watch out for from the United States, definitely both these players on that list, and we see them both paired up in this opening round. So definitely some great action here. Aaron has to decide who he wants to start working on. Looks like Feather Arrow's going to go down on the Zaru with the Choice Band. And now Daniel's going to start going in himself. He has a Lysander to bring up the Rowlet. And he's got a Mind Jack knockout. That's going to be pretty good. Does not find himself a Drampa, though. So these Mind Jacks are going to have to really push him for the majority of this game. And because Aaron wasn't able to get that many Pokemon down, he might just keep this small bench and say, all right, well, you don't really want to copy my attacks. The most I ever do is 90, and Mind Jack is going to do nothing to my 240 hit point Decidueye.
Yeah, so there's a knockout. First prize for Daniel, getting a pretty good setup here. No Drampa like he predicted, that's because they are in the prizes, but working with what he's got with those Zoroarks. And there's a second Decidueye GX hitting the bench for Aaron.
Yeah, that's fantastic for him. And that means that we're going to see 40 damage a turn coming down now. And Aaron is content with just passing. Shaman is not going to get knocked out here. And he actually encourages the damage to be put on this Shaman. That means that he can Sky Return, bring that damage back up, and then doesn't have anything to worry about. So, yeah, Daniel just says, I'm not going to play into that. I have the Lysander. I'm going to start putting some damage down. I have a Choice Band as well, which means that Mind Jack is going to be doing, I believe, 100 damage. And he can just start putting in some work on this Decidueye. This is also probably going to mean that Aaron doesn't play any more Pokemon on his bench, just because he doesn't want to get return knocked out by a Mind Jack. But he might see this as an opportunity to go in. He knows he has a knockout coming down on the Zoroark, and Daniel's hand seems pretty bad. He doesn't have anything really going for him. So this can be a big turn for Aaron. With the use of 1 Feather Arrow to the active, 2 to the bench, and attacking with Razor Leaf, he can clear both Zoroarks. So Rowlet is his choice, and he's going to be looking for the rest of that line. And he looks like he found it.
Wow. There's a level ball, going to find another Dartrix right on the bottom of the deck for him. And now he has that, going to have 3 Decidueye GX. As you can see in Daniel's body language, he is not happy about what's happening on the other side of the board here.
Yeah, this is working out perfectly for Aaron. Takes that little risk, definitely pays out there, and he's going to be able to place these Feather Arrows perfectly. Gets the first prize for himself there, and he hasn't even attacked yet. This is a big turn. Only thing left on Daniel's board, is going to be that Lele.
Just, yeah, almost destroying the entire board of Daniel there. We see Professor Kukui draws 2 extra cards. We're going to see an Ultra Ball come down here, but not really much going on. Hopefully the Shaman can get it back into the game. Yeah,
he needs to find 1 energy, and he's going to be able to at least get a knockout here, which is definitely helpful because of the use of that Kukui.
Yeah, thanks to the help from Professor Kukui there. 5 new cards from the Shaman. He does find 2 Darkness Energy, a 3rd Darkness Energy.
Maybe too many.
Yeah, maybe a little bit too many. There is a knockout. 3 prizes left for Daniel. He does draw one of his Drampa, or does draw off the prizes one of his Drampa GXs, so he now has access to that resource as a Decidueye GX gets promoted on Aaron's side.
Yep. Now Aaron has not used his GX attack for the turn, so this is a great turn.
Game, you mean?
Oh, yes. Excuse me. And that means that he can soften up this Tapu Lele, and he can get himself some of these double colorless energies that we were worried about in the opening game, because he had to throw away a couple.
Yeah, so Aaron going to go ahead and looks like he's maybe trying to set up that Vileplume now. He has 2 Decidueyes on the board, finds an Oddish, immediately plays it. I don't know if he has the full line in his hand. There's a Floatstone on the Oddish.
Floatstone's good, yeah.
Something he was missing last game.
Oh, it looks like he has every bit of it.
Everything he needs. Ultra Ball there. Gonna go ahead and search through his deck. Gotta believe that's finding a Vileplume. Starting the item lock. Yep, there it is.
Yeah, he doesn't even need to hold on to a supporter, but he does have the end, so even better. It means that Daniel's going down to 3 cards. Aaron's going to see a fresh 4, and he's going to be able to use that Hollow Hunt and grab 3 out of his discard pile, which means we're going to see all the double colors come back. He can set himself up with Lysanders or whatever he feels is going to be the way to close out this game.
Yeah, it's basically like Aaron didn't even have the downside of that end here. He's just going to be able to kind of for free Hollow Hunt GX and rebuild his hand however he wants, in addition to just drawing some random cards.
Yeah.
And here we go. We're going to see 2 Feather Arrows, putting 4 damage counters on that Tapu Lele, and Aaron has flipped his GX counter. We are going to see a Hollow Hunt.
Yep, so just looking through, he has a double colorless in hand, but of course the rest of them are in his discard pile, so he needs to grab that even though he already has one. Lysander, great card to be able to take that last knockout if you want to knock out the Shaman EX. And the rest, this is really just up to him. I don't think he had any other supporter in his hand, so N, great card to add in.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was the attack before starting his turn. Daniel was going to go ahead and look through the discard pile of Aaron, just kind of determine what resources have been used, maybe how many Pokemon are in there for a supernatural dance. We do see that Oricorio hit the board.
Oh, he gets to instruct and finds himself an N.
Yeah, wow,
So.
the one card off the instruct finds the end, resets things. Pretty good draw there for Daniel.
Yep, thank you, Oranguru.
So 3 cards coming off the end for Daniel, 4 for Aaron. And what does Daniel need to put together here to kind of rebuild his board and put himself back into this game?
I don't know. He gets to attack with the Tapu Lele, which is going to help him, but how much damage is Oricorio really going to do for him, or does he have to just really start working on a Drampa? He needs so many cards to really get going that it seems like it's just a little too late for him.
Yeah, it goes back to Aaron. He has a double colorless, he has Lysander, he has Espeon, he has pretty much everything he could want in his hand for this turn. Cutting Danny off of items, and Aaron has really executed his game plan very well this game. There's a Lysander on the Drampa. Double colorless goes on to active Decidueye. We're going to see 2 Feather Arrows, yep, bringing that Tapu Lele up to 8 damage counters before we see 90 damage hit that Drampa GX.
That's pretty surprising. He had the knockout on the Tapu Lele if he wanted to with double Feather Arrow and Razor Leaf, and he chose to spread the damage around. I believe he's just hoping to keep this Drampa in the active spot and then just have enough damage to knock out both of these Pokemon. But he could have removed the biggest and only threat that Daniel had that turn.
Yeah, Aaron kind of choosing to maybe take a little bit more of a greedy route here, a little more unsafe route, and hope set up for the entire knockout. There is a Righteous Edge, getting rid of that double colorless for Aaron.
Yep, and now Aaron has 1 double colorless for the rest of the game, I believe.
Looks like he has 1 left in his deck. Yeah, he's looking through. Looks like he's going to take a Sycamore with that Tapu Lele.
Yeah,
there's a Sycamore.
Definitely wants to find that, but that means when he takes this knockout, he can likely get returned KO'd by the Tapu Lele. So he kind of put himself in an awkward spot by using that Lysander there.
And here comes 7 cards. Does he find the double colorless? It was the last card. He finds it.
Wow. Well, sometimes it's your day, and that's definitely going to help him out there. One semi-awkward spot is that he's not going to be able to clear off this Tapu Lele with just Feather Arrows, meaning that he's going to need energies to clean up the game. So Daniel's not out of it.
Yeah, that Tapu Lele, it does have a double colorless and a darkness energy on. Can start attacking, is not knocked out just by Feather Arrows, so Daniel still has some outs to this game for sure.
Yeah, if Daniel's able to chain Hex Maniacs, I think he can put himself in a pretty favorable spot even.
And there's a knockout. Aaron going down to his last 2 prizes versus Danny's 3. Tapu Lele gets promoted. energy card gets attacked. We're going to see it attached. We're going to see a big energy drive this turn. And there's an N. So 3 cards for Daniel, 2 for Aaron.
Yeah, he had the, I believe he had the Magma base in his hand. I don't know why he didn't play that. But nonetheless, he's going to end here and hopefully find a couple playable cards so that he can instruct and get just anything that could help him out here, really.
Looks like he did not draw anything of use. Going to go ahead and take a knockout, putting himself down to 1 prize, just that Drampa GX left. But as you can see on his board, he does not have much going on besides this Tapu Lele. But is that going to be enough? Can Aaron find the knockout here? There's a Dartrix and a Sycamore.
Wow, and he's down to 1 card left in his deck, I believe.
Very few, if not just the actual one. There's a Feather Arrow.
Yeah, this can get close. He has the N, of course, to reset and make sure that he doesn't deck out immediately. But Daniel's in a spot where he can just keep pushing. He has the Hex Maniac in his hand, too, so he can stop Feather Arrows. And Daniel's just going to say, all right, are you out of energy yet? Because I feel like I've run through like 20 of these double colorless already.
Also, I think he's saying, hey, can I Oricore you out of the game? And he can. Wow. Daniel AltaVilla pulls it off with just under 10 minutes to go. He has tied this game up. You can see the speed that both players are getting their decks together and just saying, we know we don't have that much time to finish this last round. This last game. Let's not tie our first round. Let's see what we can put together. Well, I did not expect Daniel to come back there.
Yeah, I didn't know that there were that many Pokemon in the discard pile for the Oricorio. That's crazy. He was able to make that supernatural dance happen, to take that last knockout, and now they're going into Game 3 where anything can happen. Of course, Aaron is going to be looking for that similar strategy of starting with that forest of giant plants and just get going. But if he's not able to find that, it could be a quick Game 3 from Daniel.
Yeah, well, so this is a pretty interesting turn of events here with only about 9 minutes left on the clock. Aaron will be going first here. You see both players start to shuffle up. Neither player wants to have a draw here. You really want to start these tournaments off with a win. So both players are going to have to play quickly and hopefully find a natural conclusion to this match.
Yep. Daniel looking to get a big aggressive start. He's been able to take prize cards fairly easily in the early game. It's just been that closing out with how many hit points the Pokemon on Aaron's side have. So we'll see. Maybe if those Pokemon don't come, then Daniel can take a quick game here.
And you see both players playing very quickly. Let's take a look at Aaron's prizes. 2 Revitalizers and 2 Sycamores, so he's not going to be able to freely discard Pokemon as much as he has been these first 2 games.
Yeah, that can definitely hinder him. And over on Daniel's side, 2 Zoroarks. That might slow him down too.
Yeah, he does have 2 left in the deck, but definitely not what you want to see. See both players playing at lightning speed, 2 level balls, find 2 Rowlets for Aaron, double colorless, and here's the N.
Yeah, also on Daniel's side, he just plays the 1 Shaman, and that was prized. Also, one of his Tapu Leles is prized too, so it really limits any big explosive turns he can have in the early game.
Yeah, so if he can kind of maybe not find a draw supporter here, he won't have any of the big support Pokemon. He just might not be able to get anything going, and this match could end with Aaron in a 2-1 victory.
Yep.
But still very early for that. Trainer's
Aaron.
Mail finds a Float Stone. Aaron playing very, very quickly, hoping to finish this match. Ultra Ball getting rid of an Oddish. And 1 other card.
Yep.
He's considering the Float Stone. I was going to give it the double colorless.
Yeah, he wants to have as many cards that he can play so that this Shaman can draw him some good cards. So the Floatstone is immediately playable on the Oddish, and he has the Grass Energy so that he can go potentially into turn 2 Razor Leaf.
So it's 4 cards off the setup from Shaman there.
Oh, Forest.
Forest and Dartrix doesn't find a way to get the Decidueye, I don't think, or the Vileplume up.
Yep, but that means that he's set up. If Daniel's not able to counter this stadium, next turn could be a big turn. We could see that triple Decidueye again. There's a lot of things that can happen when Forest gets into play.
Yeah, Forest of Giant Plants, level ball for Dartrix. Now Daniel very quickly is going to begin his turn. He has some options. He has Ultra Balls in his hand. He has draw supporters. He can definitely play out a pretty intense turn here, although he might be hindered a little bit if he's not careful by not having access to those support Pokemon.
Yet this looks like he can either go aggressive Drampa or go Tapu Lele into Bridget and play a slower game, but he knows if I'm going to win this game, I have to win now, so he's going to go very aggressive with the early Drampa. Even has the Choice Band to go along with it, and then he can Sycamore.
Yep, Choice Band, Darkness Energy, Sycamore, 7 fresh cards.
Found the counter gem too.
There's the Float Stone on the active Zorua. Will he play the Team Magnet base? He does. Gets rid of that Forest of Giant Plants. Going to hinder Aaron's setup for next turn. There's an Oranguru, and looks like we're going to see a pass of the turn.
Yeah, he's wondering, is it worth it to take that damage with the Drampa to do a big wheel, or do I just send up another Pokemon? He has the option of bringing up Oranguru and then standing in next turn with a Zoroark, but he's just going to bring up the other Zorua.
Yep, passes the turn back. It is now Aaron's turn. Aaron finds out the Decidueye. There's the Grass Energy, Sycamore for 7 fresh cards.
Yep, now it does not have that Forest of Giant Plants, so he's not going to be able to do anything else unless he grabs it here.
He does find it. He does not have a Vileplume or another Decidueye, though. He can still get some evolutions down, but is not going to go quite as far as he had hoped this turn.
Right.
Considering playing the Forest. There's the Dartrix. Doesn't need to play the Forest for that.
Yeah, he can kind of let Daniel's Stadium just punish him right here. Anything that Daniel wants to add to his board is going to start taking 20 damage. So might as well just let that come into play while you don't have a stage 2 that you can immediately throw down.
And there's a Retreat, Evolution to Gloom. And we're going to see a Hollow Hunt here. Might see does have the energy for that Razor Leaf. Looks like he's arranging cards he wants to bring back with that Hollow Hunt GX attack, though.
Yeah, he can just have a really big setup here, and anything that Daniel does, he can contest. He knows that Trampa's not going to ever one-shot this Decidueye. But yeah, he actually just is going to go aggressive here. With 3 minutes left, it seems like a good call.
Yep, so double colorless onto that Drampa. Sycamore discards his hand, draws 7 fresh cards, and you are absolutely right. Looks like Daniel is going very, very aggressive here.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage that he's able to pull off with this Berserk. He's able to do 180 damage. Not enough to knock out Decidueye, but definitely nothing to scoff at. Daniel's going to be looking for that Zoroark. Realize he has a few prized, but that one will be available for him.
Yep, there is the Zoroark. So Daniel has done a good job of kind of doing exactly what it looked like he wanted to do in this early game, be aggressive. He does have that fully built up Drampa. He has some damage on the bench to power that Berserk attack. Looks like that's what he's going to do now. Although he could choose to actually just go ahead and Righteous Edge. Depend on, but you know, with him being so aggressive, yeah, it looks like he is going for that full 180 damage.
Yep. 2 minutes left now in this game, and it's looking like it's going to be difficult for both players to even close this one out. If anyone's able to close it out, I think it's Aaron. It just depends on how much damage potentially he can get from all of his Feather Arrows, but we'll see how much damage this really ends up being. Double Feather Arrow is going to knock out that Zorua, and he can put a pretty good chunk of damage down on the Drampa as well.
Yeah, there's a Float Stone, Forest of Giant Plants. We're going to see the Field Blower getting rid of some tool cards. And I think Aaron taking a look through his discard pile. Aaron's trying to play fast, but he has a lot of considerations to make as we see a Sycamore drawing 7 cards here.
Yeah, a lot of what Aaron does takes time. So all these searches, every item that he plays is just extra seconds off the clock. He wants to play to the best of his deck's ability, but he doesn't have much that he can do when it comes to this clock. It keeps dripping.
Yep, and there's the Ultra Ball getting rid of a Forest of Giant Plants and a Vileplume. Aaron trying to set up as many Decidueye as possible here. Don't know if he's going to be able to get the full setup, though. There's the second Decidueye. There's the Vileplume. Looks like we're going to see a Retreat and a Hollow Hunt GX. Double Colorless is the find. Lysander. And the third card will be an N.
Yep, all great choices here. Daniel, as soon as he sees Hollow Hunt, he actually just runs into a top-decked N there for himself, so pretty good card for him.
Looks like Darkness Energy going to go ahead and get attached to that Oranguru. We saw Michael Premowat do some work with Oranguru back in the Madison Regional Championship a few weeks ago that he won. Not the usual attacker, but
Psychic's pretty good, man.
Yeah, it does have some does have even utility when you need it.
Yeah, it can come into play sometimes.
And here is that N. Aaron going to 4 cards. Daniel getting a full 6, and it looks like time has been called. Our clock has run out, so time will be called momentarily if it's not already. And it is Daniel's turn. And there's another Berserk there. Just for 150 this time because there's no more Choice Band.
Yep. And Aaron is going to Sycamore.
Yep, Judge is fixing the dice there. And I believe time has been called, so I think this is turn 1.
Yeah.
Get confirmation on that.
Yeah, we haven't seen any confirmation from the judge just yet, but both players are going to keep playing out. Looks like they're playing fairly fast, so maybe we may have a clock issue.
Yeah, it's possible our clock has run out a little bit quick. We'll check on that as we see a double Colorless get attached to the Active Decidueye GX. And 2 Feather Arrows. There, Aaron considering what to do next.
Yeah, double Feather Arrow and a Razor Leaf means that if he finds one more Decidueye next turn, he's able to do double Feather Arrow, knock out the Drampa before even attacking for the turn. So that's definitely very beneficial for him when he's looking to grab all these prize cards so quickly.
And he just Razor Leafs. So now Daniel's turn, and we have confirmed that time has been called. Not quite sure what turn it is, but I don't think this game is going to end in a win here. I'm not sure that there is... it depends on what turn it is. We're not quite sure on that. We'll get clarification. But both these players are still playing it out, hoping to maybe just see how the matchup works a little bit more. Or maybe there are enough turns for one player to win if everything goes perfectly.
Yeah, there may have been enough turns for Aaron if Daniel had benched that Zorua. Playing Pokemon down with not a lot of hit points can definitely be scary, but I feel safe with the Oricorio and the Drampa there.
And there's a knockout for Daniel. We did see Daniel talking to the judge there, not quite sure what turn it is still. 4 prizes left for both players.
All right, let's see if this ever maps out correctly. So if a few Decidueye can come into play and there's no Hex Maniac, it looks like he can take 3 prize cards fairly easy, but Aaron would need a second turn to do so. And it looks like Aaron's just playing safe and getting rid of a Pokemon that would be knocked out potentially for Daniel's last prize cards. So they probably are playing for the tie there.
And there's a Lysander. There's a Mind Jack to knock out. And yeah, it looks like both players are just going to tie. Unfortunate way for this match to end. You never want to see that in round 1 of this second most important tournament of the year. But that's what can happen when you get paired against, these are 2 of the best players in North America, 2 of the best players in this tournament. Like I said, I wouldn't have been surprised if this was the finals. I wouldn't be surprised if this still was the finals.
Right.
Both players are taking a tie here. They still have a lot of Pokemon to play today, though. There's going to be 9 rounds today, and I would not be surprised to see both of these players advance to day 2.
Yeah, definitely great play out of both these players. The fact that Daniel was able to take that second game even, that was pretty impressive that he found the Oricorio knockout there for himself. And now both players, not the result they're looking for, but it doesn't hurt as much as a loss.
Yeah, tie is strictly better than a loss, just not really what you're hoping to see there this early in the tournament. But